Listen, I need you to know something right now. While you were scrolling TikTok last week, Spirit Airlines almost disappeared. Like, completely. Gone. Poof. December 13th, 2025. Rival airlines were literally preparing rescue plans for thousands of stranded passengers. Spirit was 24 hours away from becoming the biggest airline shutdown since 2006. But here's the absolutely insane part. They'd just emerged from bankruptcy 5 months earlier. And now, they're losing $3 million. Every single day. If you've ever wondered how a company goes from charging you $50 for a carry-on to begging for survival, buckle up, because this story is about to get wild. Before we dive in, real talk, I made this video specifically for you. Not for finance bros on Wall Street, not for airline executives. For you, sitting there right now, wondering why everything feels more expensive, why budget airlines keep vanishing, and what the hell happened to cheap flights. Because Spirit's collapse isn't just about one airline, it's about the future of affordable travel in America. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why racing to the bottom on price is one of the most dangerous games in business. Also, quick favor, if you find this valuable, just hit that subscribe button. This channel is brand new, and honestly, your support means everything. Now let's get into it. Okay, so Spirit Airlines. You know them. Those obnoxiously bright yellow planes, the airline everyone loves to hate, the carrier that charges you for literally everything, including the privilege of breathing recycled air at 30,000 feet. But here's what most people don't know. Spirit Airlines was once an absolute money-printing machine. We're talking 23.7% operating margins in 2015, while American Airlines was at 15% and United was struggling at 13%. Spirit was destroying the competition. And they did it with the most beautifully simple, borderline sociopathic business model ever conceived. Charge nothing for the base ticket, then nickel and dime passengers for absolutely everything else. Want water? $3. Carry-on bag? $50? And yes, that's more expensive than some of their actual flights. Want to pick your seat? Pay up. Want to print your boarding pass at the airport instead of at home? Buddy, that's going to cost you. The average Spirit passenger in 2019 paid $56 in fees, often more than the ticket itself. While normal airlines made maybe 10% of revenue from fees, Spirit was pulling in 45%. It was genius. Diabolical, but genius. And passengers? They complained constantly. Spirit had nearly triple the complaint rate of the second worst airline in America. Their CEO literally replied to a customer complaint saying, "We owe him nothing. Let him tell the world how bad we are. He'll be back when we save him a penny." That actually happened. He accidentally hit reply all. The email went viral, and Spirit didn't even apologize. They leaned into it. Because for years it worked. College students, families on tight budgets, people who just needed to get from point A to point B without caring about comfort. Spirit owned that market. Between 2011 and 2015, their revenue doubled from $1 billion to over $2 billion. Wall Street loved them. Passengers hated them but kept booking. The model seemed bulletproof. Narrator voice, it was not bulletproof. When COVID hit in 2020, Spirit got absolutely demolished. But not just because people stopped flying. Every airline dealt with that. Spirit's problem was structural. See, United and Delta had corporate travel contracts, international routes, cargo business, revenue diversity. Spirit had one thing, broke people flying to Disney World. When leisure travel evaporated overnight, Spirit had nothing to fall back on. In Q2 2020, their capacity dropped 83%. They lost $144 million in 3 months. By year-end, over $500 million in losses. But the financial hit wasn't even the worst part. The psychological shift destroyed them. Pre-COVID, Spirit's entire existence was based on one assumption. Travelers will tolerate anything for a low fare. Post-COVID, people wanted space, flexibility, cleanliness, things Spirit had spent 15 years eliminating. Meanwhile, the major airlines made a move that changed the game forever. They permanently killed change fees. They improved basic economy. Suddenly, the price difference between Spirit and Delta shrunk dramatically, right when travelers started caring more about not being treated like cargo. Then came the operational meltdown that exposed how fragile their model really was. August 2021. Spirit canceled 2,800 flights in 10 days, tens of thousands of passengers stranded, $50 million in losses. Their ultra-lean staffing model that worked great when everything ran smoothly became a catastrophic liability the moment something broke. Spirit needed help. Fast. February 2022. Frontier Airlines offers $2.9 billion to merge with Spirit. Makes perfect sense, right? Both fly Airbus planes, both target budget travelers. Together, they'd control 8% of the US market. Spirit's board agrees. Shareholders are warming up. Then JetBlue shows up with a steel chair. April 2022. JetBlue launches a hostile takeover bid, $3.6 billion. That's a 37% premium over Frontier's offer. Wall Street loses its mind. Spirit's board says, no, wait, what? They rejected more money? Here's why. Antitrust risk. JetBlue had just partnered with American Airlines in the Northeast Alliance, which was already being investigated by the Department of Justice. Spirit's leadership believed regulators would never approve a JetBlue acquisition. Smart call, right? Well, yes and no. JetBlue wasn't giving up. They bypassed the board entirely and went straight to shareholders, sweetened the deal once, twice, 3 times, eventually hitting $3.8 billion. A mind-blowing 57% premium over Frontier's final offer. July 2022. Spirit shareholders vote down the Frontier merger, essentially forcing the board to accept JetBlue's bid despite the antitrust concerns. Turns out, the board was absolutely right to worry. January 2023. The DOJ sues to block the deal. A year later, a federal judge kills the merger, citing competitive concerns. Spirit's stock implodes. Remember that $33.50 per share JetBlue offered? Within months, Spirit was trading in single digits. Shareholders who rejected Frontier's safer bet watched their investments evaporate. In a desperate last move, Spirit and JetBlue announced a limited partnership in March 2024. By May, that too collapsed. Spirit was alone, no partner, no plan, and a stock price circling the drain like water in an airplane toilet. November 2024. Spirit files. Chapter 11 Bankruptcy. The first major U.S. airline bankruptcy since American Airlines in 2011. They restructure $795 million in debt, bondholders swap debt for equity, and they get $300 million in emergency financing. March 2025. Spirit emerges from bankruptcy. CEO says they're stronger now. Fresh start. New chapter? 5 months later, they're filing for bankruptcy. Again. August 29th, 2025. Second chapter. 11 filing. This is so rare in aviation that industry insiders call it a Chapter 22, slang for filing bankruptcy twice in quick succession. It's basically the business equivalent of your friend promising they've changed and then immediately doing the same dumb stuff. The numbers were catastrophic. Spirit was losing $3.1 million per day just on operations. Their biggest aircraft lessor, AerCap, had terminated leases on 37 planes. Spirit's fleet was shrinking from 214 aircraft to around 100. They furloughed 1/3 of their flight attendants. They were begging pilots for $100 million in labor concessions. Then came December 2025, when things got really spicy. December 12th. The Air Current reports that Spirit might shut down operations by December 13th because they needed $100 million in financing to stay alive. Rival airlines started preparing rescue plans for stranded passengers. United CEO Scott Kirby was openly predicting Spirit's demise. For 24 hours, it looked like Spirit was done. Spirit denied everything, called the reports false, and on December 15th, they announced they'd secured that $100 million lifeline. Barely. $50 million available immediately, the rest tied to conditions about reorganization plans. As I'm recording this in January 2026, Spirit is still flying. Barely. They're in talks with private equity firm Castlelake about a potential takeover. They're hemorrhaging money, and literally, nobody knows if they'll survive the year. So what actually went wrong? Spirit teaches us 5 brutal lessons about business, disruption, and why being the cheapest isn't enough. Lesson 1. Low price alone isn't a competitive advantage. It's a race to the bottom. Spirit's whole game was being cheaper than everyone else, but price is the easiest thing for competitors to copy. And unlike Ryanair in Europe, which flies to secondary airports with minimal competition, Spirit operated at major U.S. hubs going head-to-head with American, Delta, and United every single day. When Spirit dropped fares to $29, the big carriers could match them on specific routes while subsidizing losses with premium cabins, corporate contracts, and international flights. Spirit couldn't fight back because they only had one weapon, and everyone else had copied it. After the pandemic, legacy airlines kept their improved basic economy options. The price gap that made Spirit special? Gone. Lesson 2. Customer experience compounds, negatively if you're not careful. Spirit thought passengers would tolerate terrible service forever as long as tickets stayed cheap. And for a while they did. But negative experiences accumulate. They kill word of mouth, they erode trust. When operational issues hit in 2021, Spirit had zero goodwill to fall back on. Passengers who got stranded didn't think, well, at least it was cheap. They thought, never again. Lesson 3. Operational resilience isn't optional. Spirit ran an ultra-lean operation with minimal backup. No extra crews, no schedule padding, no redundancy. When everything worked, it was brilliantly efficient. The moment something broke, the entire system collapsed like a house of cards in a hurricane. Lesson 4. Timing in cyclical industries can make or break you. Spirit aggressively expanded their fleet heading into 2020, taking delivery of aircraft ordered years earlier. Then the pandemic hit, then interest rates spiked, then fuel costs soared. By 2023, Spirit was operating 202 aircraft, up from 157 pre-pandemic, despite weaker demand. All those planes came with debt and lease payments. They were forced to drop fares even further just to fill seats, creating a death spiral. Revenue per available seat mile fell 14.7% year-over-year in Q1 2024. That's catastrophic. No amount of cost-cutting could offset it. Lesson 5. Even failed disruptors leave lasting impacts. Here's the irony that'll make you laugh cry. Spirit might disappear, but the Spirit effect won't. Every major US airline now charges for bags, offers basic economy, and monetizes seat selection. Spirit pioneered those tactics. They forced the industry to change. But once everyone adopted the playbook, Spirit lost its differentiation while still being known as the most hated airline in America. True disruption requires sustainable competitive advantages that can't be replicated. Low price alone isn't enough. So here's where we are in January 2026. Spirit is technically still flying, but they're basically on life support. Stock price under $5. Almost shut down 3 weeks ago, burning through millions daily. The ultra-low-cost carrier model that seemed revolutionary in 2010 looks dead in 2026. Not because it was wrong, but because it was too easy to copy. Here's what you need to remember. Spirit proved you could build a billion-dollar business by being radically cheaper than the competition. They showed that millions of travelers would accept discomfort for savings. They forced an entire industry to rethink its economics. But they also proved that low price without operational excellence, customer loyalty, or sustainable differentiation eventually fails. Value without protection is just temporary advantage. And here's the part that should make you angry. Budget-conscious travelers are the biggest losers. Remember the Spirit effect, that 17% drop in fares when Spirit entered a market? It's reversing. In routes where Spirit pulled back, prices are climbing. For millions of Americans, affordable air travel is disappearing. If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening in the airline industry, do me a huge favor and subscribe. This channel is brand new, and I'm trying to build something different here. Real business analysis without the BS, explained like we're just having a conversation. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever flown Spirit? What was your experience? And do you think they'll survive 2026? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.